In the opening scene, we see a young lady, Natalie, who works as an escort, attending to her older clients. This client of hers likes to be humiliated, so she does her job as instructed. After she finishes, he invites her to watch TV together, but she declines and leaves. She walks out of the hotel majestically as the receptionists greet her. Meanwhile, a young man, Mitch, is invited to a blind date by his cousin JP, who is frustrated by the fact that Mitch has no friend and no relationship. Despite JP's good intentions, Mitch doesn't feel interested in the match. As they continue to chat, Mitch excuses himself to the restroom and starts jacking off. Just as he comes out, JP confronts him as he already knows what Mitch is up to. He feels uncontrollable about Mitch's behavior and inquires if Mitch is still using a dating app designed for connecting individuals with similar intimate desires within the local area. Mitch confirms this to JP, who recommends seeking help. Mitch skips the date, assures he doesn't need any help, and heads straight to meet his night partner. Mitch is an addict who has intercourse with just anyone who comes his way. The following day at work, he receives another notification from the app and heads straight to meet his partner after work. Some days later, Mitch visits a bar, waiting for his partner for the night, but he sees Natalie. She comes to him asking him to buy her a drink. He is shocked. He wonders who approaches each other like that, and she introduces herself as Victoria, telling him she relocated there 2 years ago after she graduated from Stanford University. Her portfolio seems so good that he knows she is lying. He inquires if she's the intended lady, and though she denies it, she quotes her nightly fee. He calls her a hooker, but she claims she is an escort. He makes a slur comment about her job, which makes her walk away. In his defense, he can't even afford her, and he is sure she isn't Victoria. She asserts that everything she told him was true except her name, and if he couldn't afford it, he should have dressed appropriately for his age. The following day at work, Mitch's boss calls him and fires him. This seems like a shock to Mitch, as his boss had commended him about a week ago that he is the best they have on the team. His boss insists on firing him by pointing out that he had warned everyone not to get too close to the interns, and since Mitch disregarded the warning, he is the one chosen to be let go. Mitch is now jobless and searching for a job. He continues with his app hookups, and he enjoys intimate times with several ladies he hooked with. He meets with JP again, and JP advises him to get help. Since he is jobless, he can use the opportunity to get help. Nevertheless, Mitch disregards his advice and goes for job hunting. After several failed hunting attempts, he meets an employer who tells him the kind of articles he writes aren't the ones her audience resonates with. She initially rejects him, but he pleads for a chance. He promises to craft a relatable story for her audience, and success will secure his employment. She agrees to give him a trial. Contemplating the job offer, he meets his landlord seeking rent on his way home. In need of money, he decides to craft a compelling story and considers featuring Natalie's unique life. He goes to the club to find her, but the attendant mistakes him for the cops and refuses to give him information about her. He angrily walks away, spots Natalie entering the club, and hastily pursues her, expressing his desires. However, she declines, fearing her family might discover her actions through online blogs. He pleads with her for a magazine opportunity, but without a work ID, he confesses he's not yet employed by the company and needs the gig to secure a position. She declines, but he hands her his card for future contact if she has a change of mind. In the next scene, Natalie goes to her next partner and the boy gets high on drugs and treats her violently. He tries to touch her inappropriately, but she pushes him away and leaves. When she gets home, she complains to her roommate Dana about what she has gone through, and Dana advises her to return to the pimp for safety. She tells Dana that if she does, the pimp will only take a large percentage of the money, leaving her with nothing, so she doesn't want to do that. She advises that what had happened to her wouldn't have happened if she was with someone. Upon hearing that, she decides to call Mitch and allow him to write her story on the condition that he would follow her around. They meet the first time, and he follows her to her first location. He's shocked to see her tutoring a boy. After the class, he asks her why she is tutoring when she earns that much, and she tells him it is because she needs a disguise for her family. Before he can ask more, she shuts him off. He follows her home and questions her about her career choice. She explains that after school, she needs a job to pay off her student loans quickly, and it was the best option available to her. Curious why she didn't consider other jobs, he understands when she reveals her earnings from the previous year. She dresses him up and takes him to her next appointment. She goes to the men, and when one of them tries to touch her inappropriately, she shows Mitch to the man. Later on, Natalie moans loudly in the room as Mitch waits for her outside. Mitch wonders if she enjoys the intercourse and why she moans that way, but she claims it is for client retention. She also notices that Mitch gets several phone notifications. When she asks, he refuses to answer, but it's from his app. They keep talking and she narrates how she first started the job and how Dana took her to her pimp. In the next scene at a bar, a man tries to talk down on Natalie and she pours water on him. When the man tries to get violent, she calls Mitch and introduces him as her bodyguard. After the men leave, Mitch's anger flares, but she tries to comfort him by highlighting their mutual benefit and the substantial gains he stands to make from the articles. He receives a notification and she inquires, but he remains silent. Later, she spies on him and discovers him having intercourse with a lady in the female restroom. She waits for him to finish, and they talk. He expresses concern about stalking, but upon realizing their similarities, she inquires whether he has done regular checkups, and he says yes. Mitch invites Natalie to follow him home that weekend, and she is shocked that he lives in a mansion. She meets his sister Emily and father Charles, who is excited to see her. During dinner, she talks about her work as a tutor. When Charles tries to talk down on Mitch, she tells Charles that Mitch is writing an article about her career. Later, Mitch speaks to his dad about his rent, but his dad refuses to give him money. They drive Emily to a party, and Natalie insists on returning to his house, so they drink at home. Natalie discloses the true motive behind her choice to become an escort, a college incident where a list of her past relationships was leaked, leading to her being labeled a whore. It impacted her job search, leading her to think that since she was labeled negatively, she might as well earn from it. That evening, they go to pick up Emily, but she complains about being bullied by her friends. Natalie rushes out of the car to confront them, but she mistakenly goes to the wrong house. They call her back after she screams at a little child, and she runs away. They watch a movie until Emily falls asleep, and she suggests sharing a room to convince Charles they're dating. In the room, they kiss and get intimate. The following morning, they return to their city, and she gives him money for his rent. Although he rejects it, she asks him to see it as a loan. She drives to the hospital for her checkup while he calls his partner, but finds it difficult to mate with her and sends her away. So he goes to the hospital to meet Natalie. In the next scene, Mitch visits JP, who again berates him for his lifestyle. He storms off only to find his family waiting at home. They talk about his issues, stating that he needs help. He leaves and follows Natalie, who notices he isn't fine, but refuses to tell him what is wrong. Her date that night tries to take advantage of her, but Mitch comes to her rescue by hitting the man. He walks home, and she confronts him at home. They argue about their insecurities and low self-esteem. Their friendship breaks with this argument, and Mitch can no longer find inspiration to write. Mitch returns to the company and refuses to complete the job as he can't get anything to write. The employer advises him that he was eager to succeed when he first visited, and that he should find his inspiration again. As a result, he goes to Natalie's hotel room, drags away her partner, and tries to confess his feelings for her, but she ignores him and sends him away. He eventually starts writing and joins a support group to deal with his addiction. Natalie also decides to put in for an MBA. During her interview, she receives the magazine Mitch had written. The interviewer appreciates her skills, but she assumes they won't employ her because of the articles about her. But the lady tells her that the articles are the major reason they would employ her, because the way she stood firm despite the allegations was worthwhile. She gets admitted and goes outside to read Mitch's magazine. Meanwhile, at home, Charles concludes that the book revolves around Natalie and asserts that if its contents are accurate, he cannot imagine his life without her. After reading the book, Natalie visits Mitch. She tells him she believes in love, contrary to what he wrote in the book. Before he can respond, she walks away. Feeling the urge to confess his feelings, Mitch decides to run after her. They share a passionate kiss as the movie ends. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Leave a like to help the channel out. Also leave a comment if you'd like us to recap your favorite movie. Thanks for watching.